migrant women get said this that, oh, you don't have local experience.
I feel that is over discrimination. I think people shouldn't be allowed to actually say that.
How can we break these barriers?
For me, has been connections.
What's the power of community?
I feel supported. I feel listened. I feel I'm not alone. We don't need extra support. We need opportunity.
Why do you think that professional migrant women they struggle to get hired?
There are three main obstacles that women face.
Number one,
You don't know anybody, you don't have any support network. Number two is the know-how. And the third is,
do you think that professional migrant women have to work 10 times harder than local people? Hi, and welcome to another episode of Australia Unfiltered, where we have candid and insightful conversations with people living in Australia. This series is powered by, obviously, our favorite Anka Cookie Co, who give these amazing cookie treats to our guests, and Dropout Chaiwala, who fuel us throughout the episode with their amazing teas and snacks. And most importantly, Aussies Group. Without them, this podcast wouldn't be possible. Oh, how can I forget? You guys for always supporting us and watching us throughout this journey. So don't forget to subscribe. On this special International Women's Day episode of Australia Unfiltered, we're going to talk about the hard truth about finding a job as a migrant woman in Australia. Australia is super diverse, that's given. But when it comes to finding a job, when you belong to a multicultural background or you're a migrant or you're a person of color, it does add some layers, which is hard to hear. Once you crack it, obviously, maybe, you'll make your mark. But just to enter, it is so difficult. And, to talk about this topic, I have with me Fabiola and Diana from Professional Migrant Women. These two women are powerhouses who are breaking the biases and they're challenging outdated practices in hiring. But what we're covering and what the real question is, why is it that skilled professional migrant women go through all of these things even if they're overqualified? And on International Women's Day, everyone is celebrating the day, and the word itself says international. It is for everyone. But when it comes to hiring, there are so many biases. So is International Women's Day just a gimmick? And the most controversial out of it all that we spoke about and we've covered, local experience. Do you think that local experience is just an excuse for not hiring migrant women? Diana and Fabiola, they share some amazing insights on these. They also tell you how you can overcome these biases. It is important to break away what a community can do and what we all can do together. So this International Women's Day, let's question what is wrong and stand up for what is right. On to Diana and Fabiola. Welcome to Australia Unfiltered, Fabiola and Diana. It's so great to have a panel like you guys for the topic on professional migrant women and how in Australia, and what great people that I have. People who run professional migrant women.
yeah, that's right. Thank you so much for having us, all right? It's a pleasure for us to be here.
Yes, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, really a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
No worries at all. It's my pleasure, actually. And who would better understand the struggles of being a professional or a skilled migrant woman in Australia than both of you? See myself a little bit. Give myself some credit. So let's dive into it. But before we dive into it, I actually want to know, where are you guys from? Where is home for you guys?
Yeah, for me, home was Venezuela. I say was because now Australia is home. But my family is originally from Venezuela, and I moved to Australia when I was 27.
Oh, okay. Wow. And what about you?
I'm from Chile, originally from Chile. And I moved here to Australia in 2014. So I've been here for almost 11 years.
Oh,
I
wow.
came with my daughter Amanda and my partner. And then I got a second child. So now we are full Chilean, Australian living here.
Oh, see, that is so nice. It's been a while for both of you being in Australia. So I think I'm rightfully I can say this, that though I'd say you're more than half Australians, even though you belong with the different backgrounds, but living in a country for so long. But yet there are biases that, skilled and migrant women face in the industry. Have you ever faced any biases?
Well, for me personally, I did feel disadvantaged, if not to say discriminated, in one particular job that I had. And, it was about the lack of.
Okay.
And, even though I kept putting myself forward, seeking out new opportunities, new possibilities, stretching myself, training myself up and everything, I felt that I was like in a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Because it was a continuous self-improvement cycle, but that never led to opportunities at work that will improve my position. So, and I only can put that down to my cultural background. I was the only person in the team who had a migrant background.
Yep.
And I could see that, all the opportunities were going through or were going to other of my team members. And I still don't know why. I never got an answer why I didn't access those opportunities. That does happen.
What about you? Have you faced anything, Diana?
Yes, about biases. Yeah, I believe so, especially when the first time that I looked for a job.
Yes.
Like I used to be a fund manager back in Chile. I have background in economics. I studied. I also have a postgraduate in finance. I am very well prepared in finance, investments, etc. And my first job here, professional job, was as an assistant for financial planners. Okay. So definitely, I believe there was a bias, and also I did not just bias from the other people, but also from myself, right? Like myself, I told myself like, oh, maybe I do need to start from the very bottom if I want to progress here in Australia. And I believe that I had that thought at the beginning because I didn't have anyone to give me an advice. I was isolated. I didn't know anyone in finance, in investment that could help me.
100%.
Right? So that was the reason, because I started, okay, I'm going to start from the very beginning, the bias from them, from the other people, and also on myself as
Can
well.
I just add something else to that? I mean, Diana mentioned, well, I felt this, or well, in my case, I also said, well, I cannot say for certain, but this is what I felt. And I think that's key, is that subtle discrimination that comes from good people.
Yeah.
People that you admire, people that are really well regarded in an organization.
Yes, for sure.
And still, you don't understand how they are doing things that are affecting you.
Yeah.
But it took me a while. It took me a long while to actually process all of that. But is that, subtle discrimination?
It happens a lot in Australia, very subtly. Like you don't even know how to react to it because you're not sure that is that discrimination.
Yes.
There is discrimination, and it happens at so many levels. Don't get me wrong, Australia is a beautiful country. There are beautiful and amazing people out here, but there are those few who there's always a bad actor, is what I'm saying. In every basket. So there are those few who make it bad. It happened to me as well, where I was working in one of my roles, and my name is Sarah, not Sarah. And after 8 months of working with me, you should know that my name is not Sarah. Like not Sarah, it's Sarah. So I corrected him. Yeah. Probably I was also a little bit louder when I said it's not Sarah, it's Sarah. So that he was a white man. He impersonated an Indian accent. And he's like, oh, it's Sarah. And I was like, wow. I didn't realize how to respond. Wow. And that was so I just said no. I thought, okay, whatever, fun, let it be. But then my other Australian friend was really nice. He's like, Sarah, that's not fine. That's being very racist.
Yeah.
And then you don't realize at times that people are doing this to you or behaving that way. Why do you think all of this happens to immigrants? Like, do you think there's a reason why this happens to migrant people?
Well, I think that most of the time, people are not aware that that might hurt you.
Yeah.
And I think, talking about your colleague, maybe he thought it was funny. Maybe she thought it was okay to do it, but he has never been in the receiving end. So he might not know what it feels like.
Yeah.
I feel that before we go and point fingers at people, we need to lead with compassion.
Yes, true.
And leading with compassion is trying to put myself in somebody else's shoes. And I'm probably, you know, from a very kind place in your heart, maybe taking that person aside when you feel calm and say, hey, you know what? That wasn't good.
Yeah.
That hurt a bit.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate it. And I'm sure that people really listen when you do that.
True. They also need to be educated. They're not okay. Either not face diversity probably, so they don't know what diversity and what can be bad. Australians always say they love a good banter.
Yes.
But sometimes cultural banters are different things. Like for you guys, your banter might be different because of a cultural background. For me, as an Indian background, my banter might be different, but an Australian might be different. So what he thinks is banter might not be banter for me, and what I think is banter might not be banter for you. So I think you should be respectful of the cultural biases also. And Dana, do you have anything to add to why do you think these biases have to do to migrant women or migrant people?
Yes, very similar to what Fabiola said. It's probably because they haven't been in that position. And if we think about ourselves in our countries, like I don't remember myself thinking like when I don't know, like seeing someone from a different country, and we said things that now I understand that wasn't okay. That wasn't right. But I didn't know by then. I was so comfortable in my place, right? Like, so now I understand that. And what I believe, and I guess we're gonna talk about that later, is about microaggressions. Those are the one that we need to really be careful, because racist things are really like one in like for me, like I've been under a racist situation just once in 11 years, like direct racist. But microaggressions that happen like almost every week. And people are not aware. People really are not aware of that. And I've been in situations where people tell me they try to explain something in a professional environment. And I'm like, obviously I know that. Why they are explaining that basic thing about my profession to me?
It is, let's talk about it. They are funny if you talk about it because I think it's the right time. It's the microaggression, the judgment, and the stereotyping. Yes. Stereotyping is always there. Oh, it's this person, like it's from this cultural background, so this is what they know, or they don't understand it. If they come from Chile or Venezuela, the English might be bad. Or if they come from India, they they live in a village, or whatever. Like they have biases and judgments of those sorts, but when you tell them that you have a postgrad degree and all of this, yeah, they'll judge. They're like, might be like it's your average degree.
Yes.
Do you all think this happens? There's a lot of stereotyping and judgment, which is not racism or discrimination, but it's a preset judgment or bias that is there in people's minds.
But it happens to all of us. Yeah, that's it.
It does.
I mean, if I think I live and breathe this day in and day out, and I still catch myself thinking less of or more of certain people, And so one of the anecdotes that I often talk about it. About 4 years ago, I did an implicit bias test.
What's that?
And it's an online test. I think it's by Harvard University, and it is like a game. You have to press some keys and reacting to some questions.
Like a test to tell you your biases.
Yes.
Okay.
So, when I started the test, it was about are you biased towards men or women or people of color or not? And I knew the results. I knew what the results were going to be for myself, right? I run a feminist organization for women of color. I knew the results, right? So I'm doing the test, bam, 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 and then I get my results. And when I get my results, it says you are biased towards white men.
Oh wow!
No.
So the first thing that I thought was, this is wrong. The test is wrong, right? Because this can't be my result.
Yep.
But then, it got me thinking, and I realized, where does this come from? If this is true, why am I biased towards white males? And then it got me thinking about my upbringing and all the things I consume, media, growing up.
Yeah.
And growing up in Venezuela, the epitome of perfection was the US and the white people, and the powerful people were male,
Yeah.
Then I realized, oh God, yeah, I am biased towards white males.
Yeah. Try.
And that was the beginning of awareness for me, And sometimes, um, if somebody says, oh, the director, the manager, the CEO of such and such company, and I read or I hear a female name, it's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
I was
Surprise.
expecting
Yes.
a male name,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And-
it happens to all of us.
Yeah, and that reminds me that I'm a feminist as well.
Yes.
I host a podcast, a feminist podcast as well.
Before we go,
Yep.
what does feminist mean?
Okay. Yeah, well, supporting women, supporting each others, and knowing that women can be leaders, can be whatever we want, and we do need to be included in the decision making process. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for me a feminist person. It doesn't mean that we hate men at all. Like we need men supporting women. Of course, we are probably, or myself, I'm against certain type of male.
Yeah.
The one that the misogynist ones,
Yeah.
obviously, and the ones that think that women need like extra support. Like we don't need extra support. We need opportunities. We need the same opportunities as men, right? So yeah, for me, that's feminist.
I wanted to add, like, sorry to cut you, but I wanted to add, same opportunity doesn't mean equal opportunity. Like, lots of people come like, oh, man can pick up 200
Yep.
kgs of weight, so women should also pick
Exactly.
up. We give you
No.
equal opportunity. The structure is different, for sure, but that doesn't mean that a woman becomes a mother, that she cannot work. Because when a man becomes a father, he and the working normal, like, it's the same life for him. And look, as a maternity leave and paternity leave, there's a reason. But that doesn't mean a brain gets any smaller after giving birth, and people are like, see, here's a difference, you need more maternity leave.
Uh-huh.
There's a difference 100% between a man and a woman, but you need to weight equally and not weigh them down because either a mother or if they're taking a break. Is for men the same thing? You're like, yeah, come on, come to work. So what, you're a father. It's the same way. You don't have to take care of the house with your own money. So that is what I wanted to add, and I'm so sure you mean the same thing.
Yes, yeah. Definitely, it's about more equity. It's diversity, it's equity, and inclusion. That is something that it's so important in our society these days. And what I wanted to say about my anecdote, running or hosting a feminist podcast, I was listening to the news, just listening, and it was here in Australia, the champions of cricket.
Yeah.
And they talk about the Aussie cricket team won this, and in my head it was a male team. And then when I turned to watch the TV, it was actually the female team.
Yes.
But they didn't say the gender, and I felt so bad. Why? Being so aware, being a feminist, that happened to myself. So yes, the first step is being aware of that. All of us, we have biases, and we have to fight every single day to beat those biases.
Yes, 100%. And even I feel the world is changing. Like, for example, in cricket, first it was batsman. Now it's not batsman anymore, it's batter. So they removed the word man.
Yes.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't sound biased.
Yes.
It's batter, bowler. So it's gender neutral.
Yes.
And that's great. To be small steps make a huge difference. And how much they're promoting women's cricket in Australia and in different parts of the world, promoting women's sport as well, because they realize it's equally important. And
Exactly.
they would bring the same amount of medals to the country at the end of the day. It doesn't matter man or female. It matters the pride of the country. So then that's what is mattering. So that's amazing. Why do you think that professional migrant women, they get they struggle to get hired? Why do you think that they struggle to get hired or get promoted?
Well, to get hired to begin with, right? And this is what we have found in our community after 5 years of running this organization. I think there are three main obstacles that women face.
Okay.
Number one, when you migrate to this country and you don't know anybody, you don't have any support network.
That's what she said.
Exactly.
Yes. And so when I started Professional Migrant Women, I just started a mentoring program,
Okay.
right? What I didn't anticipate was that program that got people together on a regular basis became the seed of a community.
Yep.
And then I realized that having those connections was so important for the development of these women. I do believe that to grow, we need both challenge and support.
Yep. True.
And the community provides that support. I mean, when you migrate, challenge
Yes.
is abundant, right?
Yeah.
That's where do you get the support, right?
Yeah.
And that connection piece is fundamental.
Yep.
Because it could be very emotionally taxing to go through this process. So connection is number one. Number two is the know-how. Well, I might be able to be connected to other people, but if I don't know how to write a good cover letter or CV the Australian way, I'm going to be knocked back time and time and time again.
Yeah.
So know-how is really important. And the third piece that is also really, really important is network.
Yes. True.
Right?
Yes.
So networks is something that we take for granted back home
Yes.
because we are surrounded by our networks. So maybe if we think back to the time when we found our first job back at home, it was because, my neighbor or my mom's or my dad's friend, or because somebody from school helped me out. But we don't have that here.
Yeah. True.
And we have to build that from scratch.
Yeah. It's true.
So when we put all of those things together in a structure and in a system that it works, then we see that obstacles can be overcome really fast.
I agreed.
Yes, but
My thought is contrary to that. Like, I'd say my experiences have been contrary. Maybe it could be a change of experience. I have seen that on like when the hiring level or whatever management level, they are biased and they do judge. As you mentioned, people are judgmental. We all agree to that. You and I are also judgmental to our own or our own community. Like, we have our own message. But people do judge the hiring managers based on a name. Even before they see all the experiences. Like, if they see an Indian name, they'll have a bias. If they see a different kind of a name, there is a bias. Because I'd say my name is Tara, which doesn't sound very Indian. And my last name sounds that someone has told me this. I cannot guarantee, so don't take my word for this. But someone has said that my last name, Tak, there's apparently an Aboriginal community with this last name. Or some Aboriginal community has this last name. Don't take my word. I'm not sure. Someone told me this. So they were like, they thought I'm Aboriginal when I don't use the saying or something. So that I'm a white person or an Aboriginal person. So it got my chances of getting hired or getting an interview pick up. But whereas my friends who have atypical names, they don't. And then once they change their name into a white name, they get more interview calls. This has been like, this is my contradicting view that I've seen and I've faced. And I've seen people just changing their names on their resume for the...
Sarah, you know what? We are aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you build those three pieces that I talk about, you can overcome that much faster. Because, you might find people in your network that are from Indian background that are willing to champion you.
Yep.
So, and one of the things that we say to our mentees all the time is do not change your name.
Yes.
Like, just own it.
Yes, for sure.
Yes. We like to say that we don't recommend fake it till you make it. No. It's just the sense of belonging. Like, by yourself, with your name, with your skills, your aptitude, you're gonna get where you deserve to be.
Yeah.
And you know what? In talking with recruiters, one recruiter told us that in those situations when they, for example, see on their resume, they read a name that is maybe a surname is complex, they pass it because they don't know how to pronounce the name or the surname, or they think, maybe I'm going to struggle in the conversation with that person because of for example, because of the accent. So it is something on them, sometimes on the recruiters, like, oh, how I'm going to manage this is going to put me in a difficult situation. Maybe no, I'm not going to, maybe I'm going to pass this time. But that's what they explained to us. I could be like, it's very human thing. If you think like, yes, I've been in situations where I don't know how to say the name and I prefer not saying the name. I've been in that situation, right? Like, I'm not going to name this person because I don't know how to say that name. Right? So it could be as well. And Sarah, given that we're speaking about this and how Fabiola said how important is connections, the community, and what else? It was the professional development network. Can I tell you something? It's a very important news for us. We've been working on something big. Professional Migrant Women has been working on something very big. And we are launching a platform for our community that is going to do exactly what Fabiola said. And this is going to be an online community. So we are going to reach out every single professional migrant woman in Australia that needs of our support, help, of our connections, community. They're going to find us in this platform. So we're super excited. It's super new. This is a big news for us. And we're going to launch it on the 6th of March. So yes, if anyone is interested, please, we invite the community to follow us and find us.
And download, is it an app?
It is an online community. We also have it's going to have an app as well, but it is a website. It's mostly a website.
So it's both web-based and app.
Okay, fine. And if can they download the app on the
Yes.
wait, iOS and Android both?
Both. Yes.
Okay, amazing. Do download it, guys. I'll put the link in the bio. Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, you're starting back to conversation.
Yep.
I know what you said is absolutely right. But on the contrary, again, I have a contrary.
That's doing a great job. Yes, we love this type of conversations.
It is a hard conversation which are very important to have and to understand it from different people's perspective. So based on that, I would say that this is the recruiter's part of it, 100% when it's hiring someone. But I'm not going to name it, it'll be very obvious. A friend of mine was working in a really big company and they had a lot of people. At one go, they let go 700 people in like trenches because obviously some funding was removed of them. But the first round of people that they removed, you can guess it, and I can guess it by your face, were all people of color. Or the first people that were removed. So that person, the random I'm talking about, he thought that, he's the only, he and one more person from his team was removed. And then he's like, okay, maybe it's his team thing. But then when he saw all the other teams, all people of color were removed, first batch. And then other people were removed, and then others. But till now, the Australians are yet a part of it. But that is just so weird. And even the one person in his team who was removed, a person of color, she was there in the team for like nearly 6-7 years. And she was there before the main manager as well. But they just removed her. So it just, this is when I see all of these things. And that's why I agree. I completely agree. Australia's amazing. It has all the good things that you mentioned. But at the same time, these microaggressions, what you were calling, or these judgments that happen, which make you feel that why does this happen?
Yes, but you know what? I would like to challenge that this situation as well, because in some part of in some sectors, economic sectors, I find that more colored people works. Like the numbers, like we will say, like maybe 70%. It's people of color in certain type of jobs here in Australia. So if they got rid to, let's say, 10% of those, obviously most of them are going to be people of color. Right? So it will be interesting to see if this is happening also, like in parts where like the minority of the workers are people of color and they make the majority of those who were left off. There is like, why?
Yeah, true.
So we need to also to question more, Sometimes we prefer to have, or we like to see just one part of the story, but actually there are more parts as well. And some companies, they do terrible in diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's true. Some others are really good. So we can't judge all of them by the same with the same measure.
100%, 100%. And I completely agree that happens in a lot of places, but which place I'm talking about, there's
Yeah, you
six
know more.
people.
Yeah, okay.
Four
Yeah.
people were people like white people.
Yeah.
Two were the colored people,
Okay.
and then the two removed.
Yeah.
If it was one, it made sense.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that is random.
Yes.
But if it was both of them and the other four were not, that didn't make sense. So that does happen, no doubt. But yeah, that is totally true. And also adding one more part to this is again contrary on you try to say. A friend of mine worked in a very big shoe brand. He used to work on the retail sector, like where you work casual jobs and you do retail. But when I had a chat with him, he's like 90, let's say 80% of the retail stuff on the floor and their showrooms everywhere were people of color. But then the senior management or the headquarter, whoever was there was not a single person of color. There was one person of color for diversity hire, but that person was Australian itself. But everyone was just like Aussie with a background and something basically. But the rest like this, which makes me think that is this some biasness that they have? Why don't they have people of color? Or maybe I don't know. Maybe it could be another reason. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that it's not a secret that workplaces, when we look at the compositions of most workplaces in Australia, we can see a pyramid shape.
Yep.
Where, at the bottom, the base of the pyramid or the triangle are people of color. So we have a lot of people of color at the base.
Yeah.
But the more you go up on that triangle, the less people of color,
Unless female.
Yeah, the less
female, and less
less
people of
yes.
color are taking space on those areas. And that's why I believe that the work that we do is so important, and the work of inclusion is so important. Why? I mean, it is a fact that we, most of the hiring is done on liking. I like this person, or this person is liking me.
Are recommended by someone else that it's
So I see themselves in that person.
Yes,
Absolutely. Oops. So, if we have more diversity at the top, there will be more chances of having more diversity, in all the levels.
Yeah,
right?
true.
So, when I advocate for diversity, yes, of course, I advocate for migrant women because I am a migrant woman, right? And I don't have the lived experience of people with different kind of diversity, right? But I believe that there should be room for everybody
Yes, true.
up there, so they can also bring with them people like them.
Yeah, true. And then everyone brings like a cultural aspect to themselves or the cultural notion, which does bring a lot of knowledge, like on your cultural background. We'll get some kind of, notion or knowledge that I wouldn't be able to think of it. And then vice versa. And even for Australians, the same way. Everyone brings with their diversity and culture, they bring something.
Well, and I think it's very interesting because it's not just about culture, right?
Yeah.
So it could be about ability, it could be
Even
about
with gender.
it could be
Yeah,
about gender, it could be about, say, your marital status, or you can be, I don't know, married or single, but the fact that you have children or not may affect the way that you perform or are seen at work, right? So there are so many nuances that and that's the thing about representation, right? When we have a broad spectrum of people in leadership positions, then we open the floor for everybody, and we have more inclusion. So I wanted to say something.
Yes, so there are lots of research going through or on this direction of how important is diversity at a corporate level. So, for example, teams that they are more diverse, they outperform other teams that they don't have that level of diversity and gender diversity, cultural background. So literature is like full of literature supporting that fact that diversity it's better than non-diverse groups.
Yeah.
But here in Australia, while we have 30% of the population has been born overseas, right?
Actually, it's more. I don't know. I saw a stat which said more than 50%.
See, yes, 50% has a diverse cultural background. 50%. 30% have been born overseas, but let's say 50% has a different cultural background, right? And 50% of the population are women.
Yes.
But anyway, women of color as leaders here in Australia are less than 2% of the ASX 300, the 300 largest companies in Australia. Only 30 of them, they have female CEOs, and only about 2 have a women of color.
Yes.
So yes, and we could be in a better position. Like Australia has a competitive advantage on other countries that we are not really taking there, right? Like we should be more advanced in that sense.
True. And women are multitaskers. Like men can also, but they suck at it. But some men can. So don't take me wrong. But men, like women, are great multitaskers. They can do. Like my brain is always on like take 10 billion thoughts, and I'm so sure how many people I've spoken to who are mothers or who run the businesses, and they say they're like, I don't know how they managed to do being a mother and also working. I'm like, I'm working, I'm dying. How can I be a mother? I'm managing myself. That's more than enough. So women do manage to do it. Even men, obviously, support is important, but women can handle so much more.
Yes. And what we would like to see is balance. Obviously, we don't would like to have a like obviously like men putting aside. No, that's not the intention, but a better balance. Having more female leaders. Yes. Yes. We are prepared. And in some places, women are better prepared. They are overqualified in many positions. Women are overqualified.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is something to keep working on that, keep pushing that.
True. And what you said, overqualified. So bring that to professional migrant women. There's so many times when you're applying for jobs, it is that overqualified migrant women, they always end up underplaying themselves, or they apply or they get roles which are way lower for themselves. Why do you think this happens? Like they're so well qualified. I'll give you an example. I was talking to someone and she had told me that she worked on a senior level in accounting or some finance background. And then when she came, like head of department, when she came in, she had to just start at a basic level, even though she had years of experience. She's like, I went back 5 years. That does happen. Like, why do you think this happens?
Well, in my case, in my experience, I have to say that I didn't have a professional level of English. So first, it could be like if your level of English is not at the professional level, like yes, it could be a thing. In my case, I had to be exposed to the professional world first. And given that I didn't have that level, I thought it was okay for me to take into a level that it was like underqualified for me.
Yeah.
I have to say that it didn't take me that long to advance. Once I got to a better level, it's still a work in progress. My English is still a work in progress, I know. But when I got to that level, I went advanced quick in the program.
I've heard that also.
Yes.
They start with
Yes.
over in Manya, they got to way high level, which was not usual.
I also have a view about that. Two things. One is bad advice. People tell you you should start on the ground. And that is absolutely not necessarily the case all the time. So yes, if English is your second language and you still learning and polishing your language, probably starting with a lower position could be a good idea, but that advice is not relevant for all migrants.
True.
And it's given like a recipe for everybody. So
Yeah.
bad advice could be a part of that. And even when we talk about language, I have seen some of our mentees whom I think their English needs work, and they are the first to get professional jobs.
Okay, wow.
Why? Because probably the kind of job that they do don't require,
Yes.
sophisticated language skills,
Yeah, true.
right? So we shouldn't judge
Yeah, true.
just like that.
Yeah.
The second factor that I think plays into this is lack of role models, like Diana was mentioning before, right? Is I don't know of any other South American woman who is in a good position or in a position that I aspire to be.
Yes.
Maybe I take that bad advice that somebody
Yes.
teach me,
Yes,
right?
true.
And then I put myself at bottom of the ladder. And I just think, and that's why it's so important
Yes,
to
true.
have networks, 100 professional networks,
Yes.
to see role models, to connect with them, to understand the story. And I tell you what, you can close that gap so much faster
100%.
when you have those in place.
Yes. You know what? I'm agreeing to you guys for this actually I add. Do you ever watch Masters of Australia?
Yeah, sure.
So there's this contestant. I think she's from Venezuela. I'm not sure. Her name is Kema. She's really famous. She's the next Masters of Australia contestant. I think she was a migrant woman of Venezuelan background, one of the first few ones.
Yeah.
And I think that opened the door for many others as well.
Well,
When she became. So I think when you see a role model like people from Venezuela or from a similar background, they'll see a migrant woman going in somewhere in Western Australia. They have now a role model to look up to. Similar to me, when I saw someone with an immigrant Indian background in Western Australia, I was like, wow, that is so cool.
yeah.
I never thought that could be possible in a show that is Master of Australia.
Yes.
So I think you're completely right. Like role models are so important. You then realize that okay, if they can do it, you can do it, but someone obviously needs to pave the way out.
Absolutely.
And you know what Fabiola said about the advice, that's also very key. And when I got to know about the word professional migrant women, I didn't have that when I started. And I convinced myself like, yeah, I do have to start from the very bottom because my level of English is not good. And I convinced myself, right? And we had this conversation with Fabiola, and Fabiola made me see like, you actually, maybe you didn't need to start from the very bottom.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a good thing that it worked well, and now I'm happy where I am. Yeah, but it's not fair for everyone. So
100%.
yes, having advice, having someone to discuss these type of things, like a mentor, that's key. That's key.
100%. If I might add something else, and again, we have heard about this from many people that come and help us out. So we have regular guests to our mentoring sessions, and why not? And people say this time and time and time again, maybe you don't have really college English skills, right? But if you know the keywords of your industry, if you know the definition, if you know how to drop those keywords at the right time, that you will be able to manage yourself well in your industry.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, so you have to hear that from someone.
Yes.
Someone needs to tell you that.
The confidence, you need the push, as you mentioned, having the right mentors, having role models, someone who speaks English like you or in English with a similar accent to you at a leadership role. You'll be like, if she can do it, then maybe I can as well. Like, you need to hear or see a person with your cultural background. I know that people would say, oh, you're being biased towards your culture. You want your culture to work. But there are so many of the others. So it'd be nice to see someone with diversity. Doesn't matter whatever it is. Even one person is what we're asking. We're not asking to change the whole system. So I completely agree to that part. But I would say, before I say this because I need to be sure, had you ever spoken English or, did you know English back home?
No.
No?
Me? No.
No. Imagine you have to learn a whole new
Yes.
language. You all speak Spanish or what do you speak?
Yes, Spanish.
It's so different. I'm trying to learn Italian. I know it's different than Spanish, but still I learn is what I'm trying to say. It's so difficult to speak in at your home. You can eventually learn it if you're in like if I'm in an Italian, household and everyone's constantly speaking. But while growing up, you never spoke it. And if you learn the second language,
Yes.
it's hats off. It's the alphabets are also like looking different.
Yeah.
Are they put together? And English is a funny language.
Yeah.
The way you speak it,
It
does your right.
Yeah, yes.
It is
You
so
need to
weird.
know how to pronounce. Otherwise, there are no rules almost. No rules.
Exactly. And the genders or all of those
Uh-huh.
things are so much more different. Does English have genders?
No.
English doesn't
Spanish
have
has gender.
Spanish has
Yes,
genders.
yes.
Hindi is genders.
Yeah.
Though I studied in English on the way. So it was easy, but it's just the accent bit that was there.
Yeah.
But for you guys, like learning English and your English is minimum.
And
It's so difficult. As someone you ask an English person to speak Spanish as good as you speak, the tables would turn. Have you watched Modern Family?
yes.
And that Gloria, she's from a Spanish background, and she says that imagine one day that I have to first translate in my head from English to Spanish, so Spanish again to English, and then speak it out. What if you have to do it the other way?
Exactly.
It's like I'm so smart in Spanish.
Yes.
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 Um,
popular meme.
Yes. Yes, we like it. Yeah.
I love that meme. That's
Yeah.
so awesome.
Well, and what I wanted to say before is like also learning the language as an adult, which is different, right? Like I compare with my daughter. Obviously, she came when she was very little, and her English is perfect now, right? But for me, I came as an adult to learn with all of my own biases on myself, right? Like learning a new language. Like, yeah, I feel proud of what I have achieved, and I believe you as well. Definitely, because we know it's hard, but yeah, now I'm being able to be here with you, Sarah, and speaking something that like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I was so scared of doing these type of things, and now I feel more comfortable.
Look, there is another thing. I mean, Diana, you said it's hard. You said it's hard. It is hard. But I don't see people migrate to
make life easy.
no.
Yeah.
Nah. I mean, we migrate because we want a challenge.
Yes.
As boy, that's a challenge.
Yes, my
and that is
comfort zone.
Yes, and that is part of improving yourself, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's also embrace that challenge.
Yep.
Like I said at the beginning, there must be a balance between challenge and support, right?
Sure.
And migration is a challenge. Make sure that you have the right support.
Yes, for sure. 100%. That's totally true. But one more thing that always happens when you're new as a migrant professional in Australia is, I'm so sure you've heard this dialogue 10 million times, but that migrant women or migrant people said this, that, oh, you don't have local experience.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
God.
Yeah. How you're gonna get local experience if you're
Yeah, I think that's a cop out, to be
Yeah.
honest. I that is something that I really despise. Where do you start? With that. I feel that is overt discrimination, to be honest. I think people shouldn't be allowed to actually say that.
Exactly.
That's not a good enough reason. I mean, if you not only have experience, you have international experience.
Exactly.
Right? You come with a worldview that is different. You have something to offer, right? And this is the thing that really gets me.
Yeah.
If you come from a country with an Anglo-Saxon background, your experience is embraced, right? And you don't need local work experience, right?
That's true.
But if you come from a non-English speaking background or country, then all of a sudden you need local work experience. Nah, not on. I think we should be very vocal about this and stop this because it doesn't make sense.
Yes. 100%.
And we don't find an answer for why that's happened. Like, really, we have discussed this with recruiters, among us, with experts, and it's like there is not an answer, an easy answer. Like, why do you keep doing that?
because they've done it, because
Yes.
somebody
Yes.
ever did,
Yes.
and they just keep doing it.
Whoever started was really not in a good way, but was really smart, and then everyone copied it.
Yeah, and maybe it was important by then. Maybe this was like, I don't know, 50 years ago that they had a reason. But now
Maybe
there is
not.
no reason.
Then again,
Or maybe not, but people are used to do that and they keep doing it.
Yeah.
And really, we don't understand why. And there is also the reason because we exist, professional migrant women exist to challenge that
Yeah.
and to also to work with recruiters, with companies to make them know, to make them aware that that's not okay these days. Like as Fabiola said, like well, international experience, it means something. Like it is important, it's
Yes.
valuable.
What do you think about International Women's Day when there's so much of biases, or not biases, but when there's so much of I'd say unrest when it comes to hiring I'd say migrant women are international women. So hiring international women, but then corporates want to celebrate International Women's Day. What is your take on this? Well, International Women's Day is about all women, right? Yes, absolutely. Again, 5 years ago, when I ran the first International Women's Day for professional migrant women, I think that was the only thing out there. In fact, so I've been in Australia for 20 years, and I started professional migrant women 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So for the previous 15 years, I've never seen an event that it was dedicated to migrant women,
Yeah.
right? That was a first of a kind.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely beautiful. And this is the thing that we get in all our events. People go to our events and they see women like them.
Yes.
Like look like them, talk like them. And that is a very powerful thing. A lot of people come and, wow, I've never been in a room like this.
Yes.
I've never seen so many people who look like me, right? So, and all the discussions that we have at our International Women's Day events come through an intersectional lens.
Yes, true.
Through a lens of migrant women.
Yeah. And an intersection is very, very important to balance things out. If there is not an intersection, it's just going to be, the weighing scale is just going to be heavy on one part, but not a balance is not going to be there. Do you have anything to add to this? What do you think of International Women's Day? Is it a marketing gimmick for corporates, or what is it?
Yes. Well, as usual, as everything in life, some companies, I believe that they are really committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And in Australia, have worked in many companies. And in some of them, I've seen that, yes, this is real. It's not a marketing strategy. Actually, most of the time, they don't post anything, but they treat their people in a special way and they're committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. But in some other companies, I would say that, yes, it is a tick box exercise. It is for just the photo and then posting something on LinkedIn. Yes, I've seen that as well. And that's something that maybe they don't know what is this about. They don't really understand what is this about. And maybe they need help. Yeah. And if they need help, we are more than happy to support them with this journey, because it is a journey. Yeah. It would be great if they understand how important it is for their diverse talent working with them, how important for them is to feel seen, is to feel supported, and feel that they have the same opportunities as any other person in that company.
100%. I completely agree. And when you said that other people sell your photo on social media, it didn't happen to my friend, like a really big, I'm not going to name them, but I'll give an example, in which industry, printing, not office works. So sweet. Super sick public not office works, but like a printing stationery kind of place where they had an event, and I was also invited to it, but they had a panel discussion where they had one person of a diverse background. But she wasn't asked just one question, and then it was asked to the rest of the other panel, whereas she's very, very smart. She has her own startup and excessively smart, and I'm not sure if she's from an Indian background. She's Indian values, everything, but I think she's born and brought up in like other parts, or maybe she's born in India but brought up in some other part of the country. So she's not atypical,
Indian or whatever. So, but then when I had a conversation with her later, I was like, "Oh, you weren't speaking much. What happened? Are you okay?" She's like, "Oh, I just think I was just a diversity, panelist." That is just so sad to think, because when they take the picture, you're like, "Oh, wow, such a diverse panel," but actually they don't mean it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of like that. Have you ever seen something like this happen?
Well, what I've seen in companies, it's that the companies that they are truly prepared, that they have embedded the diversity, equity, and inclusion, they don't struggle with International Women's Day at all. They know what to do. They know what their people expect, and they don't overdo it because it's something that they do the whole year. During the whole year, they have programs, they have trainings for everyone to be aware of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is great. And they do it, and they have leaders that they are from different different gender, different cultural background, so they really don't struggle. It is an issue for companies that they really don't believe it, they don't live it, that in these days for International Women's Day, they are like, and what we do now, right? Because it's just one day, they haven't thought about it at all during the year, and it's like, wow, we need to do something. And there you see the pink cakes or the purple cakes, and it's like, no.
On the other hand, and I like to play devil's advocate, it's a journey to be had, right?
Yeah.
So I like to think that it's a step in the right direction, right? And maybe it's about learning about the journey and committing every year and every day. I mean, of course, I think I agree with Yana. When organizations have that commitment embedded in their culture, it is an easy process, right? And probably the ones that struggle, let's give them brownie points for trying, but they need to keep doing better.
Yes.
That is true. When you were talking about all of this, what came to my mind is, do you think, and I'm so sure you've heard this also 10 million times, do you think that professional migrant women have to work 10 times harder than local people to secure a professional job?
Yes.
Well, I don't think they should. Definitely no. You have to work same as required, right? As the role required, same. You have to do a good job, definitely. As everyone wants to progress in their career, they have to do a good job. Just that. Do we need to work harder? No. Why? Now, what is a fact here is that's still happening, right? And you were to talk about that. Yes.
No, absolutely. I agree with you, Diana. And I think two things. Internalized racism.
Yes.
Right? We were talking about that before.
Yes.
If you come from a non-Anglo-Saxon country, then you have to prove yourself harder.
Yes, that's true.
And I love, there's a famous quote out there, don't judge me from the words that come out of my mouth, but the ideas that come out of my head. Right?
Listen, don't judge. The trend is going on.
Yes. Well, and there's about judgment. Our brains are designed to judge. We compare all the time. Taller, shorter, bigger, smaller. I mean, that's the function, the main function of our brain, right? But what is not okay is to pause, to condemn, yeah. We are judging all the time, good, but condemning something,
Yes, true.
that's where I think we should have issues with, right?
Yes, true.
That a person is not good because they have an accent. That's not on.
Yeah,
right?
true.
But do I hear an accent and something comes into my mind that's natural?
Yes, true.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, true. 100%. They could, as you had mentioned earlier, they have not been exposed probably to diversity. So probably a judgment could come. And I've said this before also in my podcast, I would say the media and movies are to be blamed for this.
Of course.
Because in a movie or like in the media, particular kinds of people are portrayed. Okay, like when I'm being biased again here, like how I loved Modern Family, but when they showed like a Latin women, a Latin woman's supposed to barely look like this, walk your hands, talk like this. But that is not true. There are different kinds of people. But media creates those biases,
Yes.
which you form even before meeting a Latin person. Or media forms a particular bias about an Indian person, maybe works in the village, no electricity, no nothing. But you've not met, you've not experienced, you've not gone. But how am I to blame to you as well if you have never met and cooperated with someone? I agree, but I feel with the internet these days, so much you can educate yourself.
Oh, yeah. I can talk about another anecdote for me, and a plug for the Gender Equity Commission. I remember I was looking at one of the reports from the Gender Equity Commission in Victoria, and there was a video, and I played the video, and to my shock and surprise, the narrator of the video was speaking with an Indian accent.
Oh, lovely.
And I was like, I still get the goosebumps, because I was like, I'm not Indian, but hearing a foreign accent in that video was so touching, and so that is exactly the role of media.
Yeah.
And of course,
More
if we
representation.
have a diverse population, we should also have those voices in the media.
Yeah, true. I agree. If the media embraces it, everyone embraces it so much more easily. Yeah, faster. They'd be used to it. That's the point. You just need to get used to it. It's like eating bread. If bread is
exactly.
new, then you'd be like, what is this? Why is this so weird? Why do we eat it? It's unhealthy. But you've been eating it for years and years and years. So now you know that, okay, there's something like bread that you used and you can use it in multiple ways.
Exactly. And what you're doing with your podcast is great. And this idea of inviting us, it's amazing. So congratulations to you, Sarah, and well done, because we need to have more of these conversations. We need to be more on media as well, and making sure about that these people are aware of different accents, different way of living as well. And it's okay. We're in the same country and we all want good life. We're good people. So yeah.
True. Now we've talked about the struggles and those are the main things that happen. But I also want to talk about, I know you mentioned, both of you have mentioned this earlier, but how can we break these barriers? First, my question, I'm going to talk about breaking the barriers. First one is, how can, you mentioned it earlier, but you can repeat it as well, that how can migrant women break and enter the professional environment? Are there any tips or anything that would be helpful to, migrant women watching this?
Yes. Well, for me, has been connections. Connections, it's for me has been key. Like not having an advice, not having someone in working in investments that could have given me an advice. That was something that I missed. Like I believe that's super important to have someone, to meet someone that is working in your area of expertise that can give you advice.
100%.
And yeah, that's also that connections, networking, being part of a community that can give you, that can support you, can give you advice, can guide you, someone to talk about like a bad or good experience, and you would like to be listened.
Yes.
Community, networking, connections.
Where can a person find these three things? That is the big question. These are important.
Yes.
Everyone you must on LinkedIn, they say this, make connections. That's how you get a job. But where do you find the right connections? What is the best way to find connections as a diverse migrant, migrant woman?
Well, you have to join Professional Migrant Women, of course.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
that's obvious. And we have great opportunities coming up.
For that question of a moment, is Professional Migrant Women only in Melbourne or it's in MA? City?
No, it's platform.
With the launch of our platform, we will be everywhere.
Okay, so every part of Australia.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Perfect. That's amazing. And then where else can they find these connections, networks of community?
Absolutely. Look, I think it's a strategy.
Yeah.
And you can start small, like everything.
Yeah.
And with your close circle, like your community of professional migrant women, and then start branching out.
Okay.
And what is branching out? Well, first of all, have a presence on LinkedIn.
Yes.
In Australia, it's very, very important to do that.
Yes, true.
Then connect with people like you or say from your similar cultural background or nationality
Or professional friend as well.
so that's the next one as well, right? So, I mean, start finding people like you in many different ways. Maybe you have similar hobbies, maybe you have similar interests, maybe you have similar professional background or cultural background. You know, you start building that way. The next thing that I will say is find a mentor.
Yes, true.
But what does finding a mentor is?
Finding mentors very, very like you can find a mentor, but finding the right mentor.
Exactly.
Well,
That
but
makes
here
a
is the
difference.
thing, right? And this is what I say to people. I have I have I have found so many mentors on LinkedIn and they don't even know that they're mentoring me. Right? Why? Because I follow them.
Yes.
Because I see what they post, I learn from what they post, I learn about new trends, I educate myself. And maybe I see something here that I never heard about, and then I go and I Google it.
Yeah.
And I learn about it, right? And then I form an opinion. Right? And they don't even know that I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we think about, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, no LinkedIn, you went to a seminar and you found an amazing speaker. How did you follow that person? How could that person become your mentor? That was not possible.
Yeah.
But you go to a conference, you find somebody that really resonates with you, you start following them wherever they are, right?
Yeah.
And you learn, and you learn, and you don't even have to have a one-on-one session with that person.
Yes.
That is one thing. But you can always take the next step. And what is the next step? Send them a message.
Don't be afraid, right? Don't be afraid
Don't
of
be
connect
afraid.
with people. Yes.
Ask them for a coffee.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, here's the thing. Don't ever say to people, do you want to be my mentor?
Yes.
Right? Because it is a big commitment and people don't have time and people run away from those situations, right?
Yes.
Oh, no, I don't have time. No, but hey, Diana, can I have a coffee with you? Look, I'm interested in your area of expertise and I would love to have your advice on this. Most people will say yes.
Yeah, true.
9 out of 10 times, people say yes. And then I have my chat with Diana. I learn a lot of things from Diana. And before we go, I said to Diana, hey, Diana, would it be okay with you if I have another question, I reach out to you? And what is the most likely thing that you will say?
I will say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
You're
Yes.
a bad person.
Exactly. Most of people are not bad person.
Diana is becoming my mentor and she
Without
doesn't
knowing.
even know it.
That's a great trait.
Smart.
Very
Very
good,
smart.
right?
Yes.
And then you have key people. Oh, you can say, hey, Diana, so I'm learning about all of this. You know, is there any other person that you can recommend me to speak to? And Diana will say, oh yeah, talk to Sarah.
Yep.
She's also very good and blah 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 blah. You know,
Yeah,
then
true.
you don't have one mentor, you have two.
Yes, true. You don't even realize that you have two mentors.
And you're not burdening one person all the time, right?
That's true.
That we all love to give and to serve because that gives us meaning and purpose.
True. 100%.
Yes.
So doing it the smart way is obviously the best way to go.
Yeah, that's great advice. Do take it up if you're trying to find the right mentors. And once you're top 2%, that's when you'll know how it is.
Yeah.
In both of your conversations, both of you have used community a lot. I assume obviously Professional Migrant Women is your community.
Yes.
Can you tell me and the audience this? What's the power of community?
Oof. Well, absolutely. I feel supported. I feel listened. I feel that like I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Given that we as migrant people coming to Australia, most of us, we come here without family. Like I came with my partner and my little daughter and that's it.
Yes.
And we have to start to make it our connections, new friends. We don't have family. We need to be, I believe, part of that community that went through something similar to us. So they understand our struggles and they are more able to help as well. And as I said, like the help doesn't have to be like something physical. That doesn't mean being there, but being there like physically, but being there like mentally, right? Like if I want to have an online conversation, I know I will find someone in my community, in Professional Migrant Women community, that will be able to listen to me, to give me advice, and I don't feel alone. I feel that I belong as well. I believe that for people, it is so important to feel that we belong.
Yeah.
And belonging to a community, it's like where we feel, okay, well, I'm complete now. I'm able to do my usual life because I belong to this community. For me, it has been finding professional migrant women has been really an important part. I was missing that part of living in Australia.
Yes.
And I'm so glad that I found PMW.
Oh, that's amazing. You, what about you?
Well,
You started a community. So
Yes.
That was the family
Mhm.
for you.
isn't it an evolutionary thing?
Right.
So, and if you look at, animals, say for example, the animals who which live in herds or groups, right? Why do they live in groups? Because they improve their chances of surviving, right?
Yes.
So being part of a community, of course, we are part of professional migrant women community. But if you like cooking, if you like dancing, if you like writing,
Yes,
if
true.
whatever your community is, right?
Yep.
When you find your people, you increase your chances of survival, or even better, probably you don't need to survive, you are fine.
Yes, true.
You can
Fine.
thrive.
100%.
Yes.
I
Yes.
completely agree.
Yes.
And what Diana said before, why? Why is that important? Why do I thrive? Because I feel that I belong.
Yeah.
Because I feel seen. I feel validated. I feel that I matter.
Yes, true.
When I am on my own, when I don't see people like myself, in an unconscious way, I am surviving. I am
100%.
against the world.
100%. And
Mhm.
it's not just surviving, but it's a sense of belonging as well. And
Yeah.
it's a sense of comfort, as you said. It can be professional or it can be unprofessional. I'll give it like a very small example. So I love doing activities, but like all my friends, they don't like we don't have similar activities. So I just randomly joined bachata. And
Good.
it's such a lovely group of friends. We do bachata. Now it's so much easier to hang out with them because everyone wants to just do bachata out there. So we don't think of another activity. We do other activities as
Yeah.
well. But that's a common factor, common interest. So it's easy to like gel. And there's one common factor that makes everyone at ease.
Uh-huh.
And all of us are from diverse backgrounds out there. So
Mhm.
that is really nice. I feel
Yes.
it's a community.
It could be a sport. It could be a religious group. It could be anything, a
Hobby.
craft course,
Yes.
anything.
Yeah,
But,
it's true.
but it is, and you know that the also very important of being part of a community that it's a circle. So at some point you need help, but in another time, another moment, you can give back to your community.
Yes.
And when you do that, it's where you see this is the purpose of being part of a community that I receive and then I give back.
Yeah.
And that's what we do at PMW. We have seen people that started asking for help or needing maybe some support, and now they're being able to support other new migrant women in the country.
100%. That is so true. Like, I completely agree in the power of community because I also started, like, except human Shira, I'm also co-founder at a community which is called Rich Kid Community, where we organize events to help people make friends because it's very lonely.
Uh-huh.
Like even though you have partner, you do need someone outside of your
Yes.
partner to have a healthy relationship also out there. It's important to have something. You need to have friends, basically friends or family if you're alone.
Mhm.
And that's specific for migrant people only, that we create like fun games night, or we recently did a Bolly Chata night, which is bachata on Bollywood music. We dance each other. So it was like a
fun.
that's fun. That's a lot of fun. So we do all these things so people can make friends, and out of that, so many small communities have come out, and it feels so nice. Like you have made best friends. No, I haven't ended up making because I'm working out there. My brain doesn't function to make friends, but it's just so like wholesome to see that you've given back and it just worked out.
Yes.
So that is the power of community. I agree. Circling back to professionalism, that we you, and this is my last question to you. We've spoken that what we can tell people who are looking for jobs. We've spoken the power of community. Now, the last one, what would you like to tell recruiters who are hiring migrant women? Any advice from you?
Diana, you want to start?
This is a hard one. It's not that easy, but well, something that we are aware, and I believe we have had this type of conversations with recruiters. It's that what we said before, like why local experience. That I will tell them why it is first the question. I will throw the question there. Why local experience is that important, and for them to think about the actual reason because why they ask that.
Yeah.
It is, are they really, this job does it really need local experience, or if it's something that they have done it for so long that they actually haven't asked themselves why we're asking this. So that will be like something that I would like to tell them, like, do they really need this for this job, or it is really like a question, a typical question?
Yeah, true. 100%.
Just like you.
Curiosity.
Yes.
Lead with curiosity, and I think the good thing about curiosity is that it makes you question your own biases.
Yes.
And you might be surprised, and so the other thing that curiosity does is that it allows you to open your mind.
Yes.
And be surprised.
Yes.
So just be curious.
Yeah.
Inquisitive, but from a genuine point of view, right? Not just trying to trick somebody over, but to really learn about that person, seeing that person.
100%. Like, this is such great easy sides that we've spoken about, and we've spoken about some hard stuff. But anyways, hard conversations are such a must in today's day and age. As we mentioned earlier, media doesn't cover it, or maybe there's some pressures, maybe there's some production things. Lucky I don't have, because I'm the one who does everything. Advantage here. But anyway, I think it was such a, wholesome and hard-hitting conversation that we had, and thank you so much. Am I saying your name right? Is it Diana? But she doesn't call you Diana. She calls you
Diana. Yes.
Thank you so much, Diana. I'm Fabiola.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, for having us here, inviting us.
It was so insightful, and I hope professional migrant women watching this realize the importance of the conversation we've had and pick the bits and pieces, because there is a lot to take away. And this country works on support, and we're here, three of us. I'm always, as someone messages me, the first thing I message, how can I help? And I'm so sure you guys do the same. You'll have built a community on that. So feel free to message us. I'll put our links as a bio, which will be really helpful. And don't be shy. As they might tell us, do not be shy, just message. Maybe we cannot help, but maybe we can connect you to the right So just try. Till the time you don't try, nothing will happen. And this is the reality. Australia is a beautiful place, be it whatever we have spoken. But there are truths as well that need to be put out. And thank you so much for your insights. But before we end, we have the rapid fire round where whoever gives me like good answers, you get cookies from Anchor. And you get tea from Dropout Channel.
Cookies for me, the tea for you.
Okay, let's see who's gonna win this hamburger for this year. I need spicy like fun question. Answers, sorry.
Okay.
So how this works it's rapid fire. I'll ask you the question, then I'll ask you, then I'll ask you, and I'll ask you. So alternatively, one person, I'll point at you, so you know who's going to answer or not. Easy questions, don't mind. Fun. Okay. Oh god, where this go? As I'm the judge. Just like fun. Again, tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee. What's your favorite cafe?
My favorite what?
Cafe.
Cafe, like where to buy the coffee? No.
Where you drink coffee, what's your favorite place to drink coffee?
I would say my home, my place, my own place. Yes.
You make great coffee.
Yes.
Yes, same. Oh my god, these two men, Latin American.
Yes.
Yeah. Then, what's your favorite Latin American restaurant?
Papelon.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out.
Okay, where is it?
Footscray Market.
Okay, what's your favorite Latin American restaurant?
Pastuso. They have the best pisco sour. I know I love pisco sour. You have to have it. Well, it's an alcoholic drink, and it's with lemon and pisco, which is from pisco. It's made of grapes, but it's not wine. It's an alcohol, 40 degrees of alcohol, 40% degrees of alcohol, and it's mixed with.
You want me to get drunk?
No, you're not gonna get drunk with one. Yeah, get just one, and it's the combination of lime and this pisco, and it's sweet, but not that sweet, and a little bit citrus. It's perfection. It is perfection.
Okay. What's the most underrated thing about Australia?
Underrated.
Yeah.
Oh. I believe that the option, the possibility of the flexibility here. You know, like when you come here to Australia, you don't know how flexible you can be. For example, I have met people that they used to be like scientists or whatever, and now they are doing something different.
Yeah.
And I love that. And we don't know about that situation till we get here. And it's a great opportunity to have that flexibility. Amazing.
Yes, for sure. What's the most underrated thing about Australia?
Food courts.
Food court.
Yes, because you step into a food court and you have such variety of food at your fingertips. So I love it. It is one of my favorite things when I have right here.
Yeah. What is the most overrated thing about Australia?
Overrated. Oh, overrated. Like.
I'll come back to you. Okay,
Yes.
I'll come back to you. What's the most overrated thing about Australia?
Sorry, Aussie people, but lambing tongues. I don't really like them. Are very dry. So, but yeah.
Yeah, sure, I agree. But now do you have something? Black. Black. Do you want point behind Don't worry about it. That's completely okay. What are 3 local businesses that you think should be viral?
Oh, well, Papelon, I already mentioned it. The Footscray Market. Go and check it out. From a fellow Venezuelan woman, amazing.
Yeah.
The second one, Queen Victoria Market. Queen Victoria Women's Center. They have been a great support for an organization like ours. They have an amazing shop where you can find things made by women for women. So go and check it out as well. Support them. And Professional Migrant Women, we have to make it viral. So yeah, it's actually
It is viral.
Yeah.
Let's get in there.
Yeah. What about you? 3 local businesses that you think should be viral?
Yes, the Beautiful Bunch, which is it's run by an amazing woman called Jane Marks, and what they do is they create this beautiful arrangement, floral flowers arrangement, and it's made by refugee women and also migrant women. So that's like very close to our hearts as well. Then the Space 2B, which is similar to the Queen Victoria Women's Center. It's a place, but it's a place where they sell products made by refugees women and migrant women.
Okay.
Beautiful place as well, run by women.
Where is it?
Where is it? Is in? Yeah.
St. Kilda.
St. Kilda. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And then the third one would be a Business for Good network.
Yes.
This is a beautiful company, social enterprise as well,
Okay.
and they support other social enterprises like us. They support them with connections,
Okay, lovely.
with community. It's a community. They created this online community for social enterprises to thrive, and they have been a fundamental part of the development of our platform. They are supporting us with the construction of our platform. So
Let's make them viral.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, please.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I hope they get viral after this. My last question. What's your favorite place to travel in Australia? I'll start with you first.
Well, I'm very local. I love Mornington Peninsula.
Okay.
I love it local. It has everything for me, like good beaches, the wines. I like wine. The scenery. It's close to Melbourne, so you can drive 1 hour. It's
True.
for me, it's perfect.
Yeah. What about you? What's your favorite place to travel in Australia?
I think one of my favorite places here in Australia. I don't play favorites. That's I hate that question.
Hey, what's your most
I love the Sorrento rock pools.
Okay.
Every summer, I strive to go there at least once, and I find that place magical, idyllic. It's just so beautiful. Everything about that place, I think, is perfection.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mornington
love it.
Peninsula as well.
Yeah.
Amazing woman, yellow plants, lovely. But
No, no.
We know the result. Even if I'm wrong, comment down below. If we know, and even she knows. Get this one. This number is for you.
Thank you. But we can share. We can share. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. It has been a pleasure being here. We had so much fun. Yes, yes.
Thank you for joining me and thank you for watching. It was truly candid, it was truly unfiltered, and don't forget to subscribe so we can bring more episodes to you.
Absolutely.
And there he is.
Thank you.